Dr. Fauci, How a Boy from Brooklyn Became America's Doctor, by Kate Messner, illustrated by Alexandra Bai. Anthony Fauci was always asking questions, wondering about the world. From the tropical fish in his bedroom aquarium to the vast oceans of sea life, the blazing stars, and the spinning planets in the pictures of his encyclopedias. How did it all work? With a wide open mind, Anthony searched for answers. His family encouraged that curiosity. When the nuns at his school said you had to go to Mass each week in order to get into heaven, Anthony wondered about his grandfather, an Italian immigrant who spent his Sundays over steaming pots of pasta and bubbling red sauce. Anthony asked his grandfather why he didn't go to church. "When I make you all the good food, that's my Mass," his grandfather answered, "so don't worry about me. I'm going to be fine." Anthony's dad ran a drugstore. While his mom and older sister served customers at the cash register, Anthony zipped around the neighborhood on his Schwinn bicycle, delivering prescriptions. Sometimes he'd get a nickel for a tip. Anytime Anthony struggled with homework, his father reminded him that every problem has a solution. Don't get discouraged. Don't run away because you don't understand the problem. Try to think about it carefully and work it out. Anthony learned to start with wondering, then gather evidence and keep an open mind. His neighborhood was full of tough guys, and Anthony wasn't that big. But he learned to get along with everyone. He was good at talking to people and listening, too. The boys compared notes about their favorite baseball players and played stickball in the streets. Who could hit the ball the farthest? They measured by sewers. Really, by the manhole covers that led down the city to the city sewers, spaced about 100 feet apart. If you hit the ball past one sewer, you were pretty good. But 2 sewers? That was impressive. Anthony was proud to be a 2-sewer guy. Anthony loved basketball too, but he was shorter than the other players. How could he compete? He thought about that problem and realized the solution was speed. He couldn't shoot the ball over his opponents, but he could dash past them. One of his teammates said he was so quick he could dribble through a brick wall. Anthony might have been short, but the other guys looked up to him. They admired his determination and the way he could talk to everyone, so they chose Anthony to be captain of the team. In high school, Anthony realized he wanted to be a doctor. He went to college and got a summer job working construction to help pay for his tuition. When the crew was building a new library for the Cornell Medical College in New York City, Anthony snuck inside to peek at the grand auditorium. What would it be like to learn in such an extraordinary place? Then a guard showed up. Anthony's work boots were tracking mud all over the floor. Anthony told the guard that he was going to attend medical school there in a year. The guard laughed and asked him to leave. So Anthony left, but not for long. He attended that medical school and graduated first in his class. Now he was Dr. Fauci. He became one of the country's top experts on what makes people sick and how to make them well. Soon Dr. Fauci had a whole country of people to care for, a new team to lead, and a lot of problems to solve. It was good that he learned how to get along with all different kinds of people back in Brooklyn. His job required that. New diseases were emerging. Germs no one had seen before were making people sick. Dr. Fauci and his researchers had to gather evidence and keep an open mind. They searched and studied and did a lot of listening. When a deadly disease called AIDS began spreading through the United States, people criticized government leaders for not doing enough to stop it. Protesters chanted and shouted outside Dr. Fauci's office. He invited some of them inside to talk so they could work together to find solutions. Every new disease was a mystery to wonder about, a problem to solve. Where had it come from? How did it spread? How could it be prevented until researchers found a cure or a vaccine? One of Dr. Fauci's biggest challenges came when a new disease appeared at the end of 2019, COVID-19, caused by the coronavirus. Within weeks, the virus spread around the globe. Hospitals were overwhelmed. Doctors and nurses worked around the clock. Stores and gyms and theaters shut down. People had to work and learn from home. A virus too tiny to see had stopped the whole world in its tracks. Where had it come from? Why was it spreading so quickly? How could anyone stay safe? People wanted answers, and at first, Dr. Fauci simply didn't have them. More and more people got sick, but there had to be a solution. Don't get discouraged. Think about it carefully. Try to work it out. Dr. Fauci kept an open mind. He worked with scientists around the world. They listened to one another, gathered evidence, and searched for solutions. They shared ideas, gathered new information, and revised those ideas. They taught people simple ways to be safe while researchers developed medicines and a vaccine. Guidelines: wash hands, social distance 6 feet, wear a mask. Within a year, people began rolling up their sleeves for the shots that would protect them, so they could go back to school, back to work, back to hugging their families and playing with their friends. Dr. Fauci did that too. Through all those months of problem solving, he'd looked forward to being together with his family again, making good food and sharing stories. Soon enough, it would be time to get back to work. Searching for solutions to whatever challenges might come next. And here's just some more straightforward information about how do vaccines work. Are vaccines safe? Short answer, yes. And life-saving. Dr. Fauci's 5 tips for future scientists. 1. Keep an open mind. 2. Don't be afraid to fail. 3. Get excited about discovery. 4. Remember that science is self-correcting. That means there may be something you think is one way, but if you really delve into it, you may reveal that it's another way. And keep learning. I really like this one, don't be afraid to fail, because I find a lot of people have been taught to be embarrassed when they fail at something, but it's not something to be embarrassed about. Let me read what Dr. Fauci says. In science, you fail more often than you succeed, so don't get discouraged by something that doesn't work. Ultimately, that's what science is all about. It's step-by-step learning with a lot of missteps along the way. We have a timeline of Dr. Fauci's life, some more recommended reading and sources for this information, and an author's note. Quotes from Dr. Fauci's grandfather and father are based on Dr. Fauci's recollections of those conversations, as shared with me in a Zoom interview on November 23, 2020. Acknowledgements. I'm most grateful to Dr. Fauci for making time to be interviewed for this book, and to the NIAID staff who offered assistance as well. Many thanks to Greg Folkers, Patricia Conrad, Kim Barash, and David Awad for their kindness and patience in scheduling interviews, coordinating technology, responding to emails, and answering my questions, even as they were hard at work dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic response. For all the scientists, healthcare professionals, first responders, and essential workers, thank you. And for the scientists and problem solvers of tomorrow, dream big. KM. For my hardworking friends Jesse, Rachel, Elena, Colby, and Tyler, I'm so proud of you guys and all that you do to help people be well. AB. That was Dr. Fauci, How a Boy from Brooklyn Became America's Doctor by Kate Messner and Alexandra Bai. And this is EDU Kidspace. Subscribe for more stories, books, and lessons, and hit the bell button so you're notified when I put out new videos. And if there's something in particular you'd like to learn about, feel free to send me a message and check on the channel to see if I have yet set up a Patreon account, which has been suggested as a way that I could fund this project a little bit without having to have advertising or anything. The advertisements that YouTube is putting on there are not mine. I don't make any money from them, and I have no control over them. So I'm sorry that those ads are there. But anyway, keep reading, keep watching, keep learning.